Everybody, and welcome once again to Play Action. Last Sunday saw two teams take that final step towards Super Bowl 27 in Pasadena. In the next half hour, we'll show you which two made it and how they did it, as we bring you highlights from the AFC Championship game between the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, and the NFC Championship game as the Dallas Cowboys visited the 49ers in San Francisco. A little later on, I'll take a look at the coaches and the players that made this season so exciting. But first, let's take a look at the action from the AFC Championship game. Buffalo came to Joe Robbie Stadium in search of their third straight AFC title, knowing they had to overcome the formidable combination of coach Don Shula and quarterback Dan Marino. Jim Kelly returned at quarterback for the Bills, but in the opening minutes, both experienced quarterbacks struggled against defensive pressure. First, Marino was sacked and fumbled away possession, and then Kelly was picked off by J.B. Brown. And when Marino did find his target, well, the ball just wouldn't stick.
Marino deep. Jack Clayton off his fingertips. Covered by Jones and J.D. Williams. Clayton had a shot.
The best play of a first quarter of missed opportunities was this huge 51-yard field goal by Pete Stoyanovich, which leveled the scores. That certainly pleased the home crowd, but in the second quarter, it was Buffalo who looked more likely to score.
Kelly to the end zone. Andre Reed can't pull it in. From our angle, that looked to be a beautiful throw.
This is a matchup that Buffalo wants all day. You see Stephen Bragg's 36 on Andre Reed. Buffalo believes they can win that. That's a major concern for the Miami Dolphins.
Reed comes out slot left, and Braggs moves over to cover him again. Now they're in tandem as Reed goes in motion. Thomas on the screen. Thomas, touchdown Buffalo.
Beautifully executed, sold well by the quarterback. He looks downfield knowing the screen is coming. Watch 51, Brian Cox trying to fight through there. Again, he's the coverage guy on Thurman Thomas. Beautiful blocking out front by Jim Richer, along with other members of the offensive line.
Meanwhile, Dan Marino was still struggling as he tried to fire up his offense.
Batted in the air, intercepted. Phil Hansen, North Dakota State.
Buffalo's drive ended with a second Steve Christie field goal, and the Bills started to dominate the game, as they once again were in scoring position on their next drive.
Kelly looking for a secondary receiver. Flag down, touchdown to Reed if it counts. Andre Reed, but they'll bring it back, holding Buffalo.
Well, that penalty against the Bills' massive tackle, Will Wolford, wiped out the touchdown. But the Dolphins, who looked out of sync on offense, couldn't capitalize on the reprieve.
Deep. Tony Martin. Off his fingertips at the 5. Steve Christie to kick it off. Second half underway. Miami trailing 13-3. It's Mike Williams. Williams.
Fumble.
At the 24, and Buffalo says they have it. They do. Saving a touchdown was Louis Oliver. He was the last Dolphin left. Can he get around the corner? No signal yet. Touchdown.
That little step inside, that little hesitation just freezes the defense, and then it's a foot race with Griggs 92 to the sideline, and the official right there in front puts his hands up.
Coach Marv Levy then saw his Bills extend their lead to 23 points with a fourth Steve Christie field goal, and pride was all that the Miami Dolphins had left to play for in the waning minutes of the game.
Marino to the sidelines. A catch by Duper, and Duper scores.
Mark Duper's touchdown was little compensation to a Dolphin team that had been outplayed and overpowered by the Bills' determination to reach a third consecutive Super Bowl.
I want to say one thing first. I want to thank my teammates for hanging in there with me. They kept telling me all week, don't listen to all this bull. You have nothing to be ashamed of. You know, there's only the first time anybody ever had apologized for being healthy, but I'll tell you what, when out there, I think one bad read, that was a long one, it was intercepted, but other than that, my team hung with me, and probably, without a doubt, the biggest win I've ever been associated with.
What won the game were the 47 players who played like they did. 47. People, you know, the big controversy all week is who ought to play quarterback. More than a quarterback wins or loses. He's important. And let me say something else. I want to take it. Ernest Hemingway once said that character is grace under pressure. No one was ever under any more pressure than Jim Kelly was today or Frank Reich was the previous 2 weeks. But they don't win it alone. They don't lose it alone. All 47 guys do that.
Time to get back on the top. Give it to him!
So Dan Marino will sadly be watching another Super Bowl from home as Buffalo went down to Miami and simply overpowered the Dolphins. Now the Bills are back here in Buffalo and due to the snow have been forced to practice inside the bubble. But next week they'll be in Pasadena and in a little while we'll show you who'll be joining them in the sun from the NFC. But first, have you wondered what's happened to all the characters in the NFL?
That's the problem with this league. They're trying to take all the fun out of the game. We're the most stale outfit in the world.
I think that there's a covert thing that happens in the National Football League, that the game will always be more important than any player.
It's about conforming, it's about being a puppet, it's about being a clone.
Bottom line, football players are as interchangeable as the GM parts.
So some people are suggesting that the NFL should turn back the clock to what they call the good old days. The argument goes that back then, football was fun and players weren't afraid of being themselves. Instead of the faceless automatons of today, identifiable only by the numbers they wear and the money they earn.
I disagree with that. I think there's a perception that cars aren't made as well as they used to be, or that people aren't as friendly as they used to be, and that players aren't as colorful as they used to be. And I don't agree with that. I think that if you did a travel log, started on the West Coast, and you sat down with Bob Golick and Howie Long, I don't think you can say there are no colorful characters in this league anymore.
It's hard to be a character and be a little bit of a thug when you're making 800 coming in and you're getting your clothes dry cleaned every week, or you're just giving your clothes away to the Salvation Army every week and you're just buying new clothes.
Why there was more of a free-spiritedness then as opposed to now, I don't really know. Perhaps since the money's so much greater now, perhaps, you know, guys are starting to feel a little responsible.
NFL officialdom hasn't helped. For example, take something as basic as uniforms, a league obsession. The rules state that the towels are limited to a maximum of 12 inches in length and must be tucked into the front of the pants. Not 13 inches, not tucked into the side. No piece of equipment is exempt. Shoes, socks, pants, jerseys and helmets.
Just about every week we get the notice from the league talking about, you know, guys whose uniform didn't conform. And you know, for me, it's kind of like, hey, close enough. Black, silver, you know, what else you want? As long as you're not out there wearing these red jerseys, you're cool.
2 seasons ago, the NFL began to vigorously enforce the penalty for excessive end zone celebrations. They've relaxed a little this season, but Tim Harris of the 49ers was still heavily fined for taunting the opposition with his imaginary six-shooters. And now he keeps them holstered. So what does the NFL stand for?
We've legislated ourselves right into score a touchdown, bite your fingers, and go to the bench.
But the fact is, you can't take the characters out of football because they're commercially necessary. An essential part of a $1.5 billion industry that has helped bring 3 straight years of record attendances. But are the characters of today as entertaining as those of the past?
You don't see nicknames on guys except for the nicknames that they give themselves. And, excuse me, but you don't give yourself a nickname. You know, somebody else has got to give it to you, or it don't count.
Well, of course, the ultimate in the NFL for a player, coach, and their fans is to make it to the Super Bowl. We now know that in the AFC, it's the Buffalo Bills. To see who will be joining them from the NFC, join us after this break.
Time to get back.
Welcome back, everybody. Last weekend, when the San Francisco 49ers hosted the Dallas Cowboys at Candlestick Park for the NFC Championship game, it was a meeting of the 2 teams with the best records from the '92 season. And many people were calling it Super Bowl 26½. The Cowboys brought their young, inexperienced team to a wet Candlestick Park to face the playoff-proven 49ers, who once again had Joe Montana standing on the sidelines. In the first quarter, it was the 49ers and Steve Young that made the first big play of the day.
Young just did get rid of it to Rice. Chased by Hope, touchdown 49ers. Flag on the play. Penalty marker back at the line of scrimmage.
And it's against the 49ers. You can tell the way they're reacting.
That penalty against San Francisco's Guy McIntyre wiped out Jerry Rice's 63-yard touchdown. And there were more problems for the 49ers when Dallas punted on their next drive. And the return was fumbled by Alan Grant, giving the Cowboys good field position in 49ers territory.
Irvin hangs on. 1st and goal at the 1.
But the nearest Troy Aikman could get to a touchdown was this incomplete pass to Jay Novacek. And so the Cowboys had to settle for this Lynn Elliott field goal.
Oh, the rain is just about stopped as Elliott kicks off to the 1 to Logan. At midfield. Knocked out by Gant.
Mark Logan's 50-yard kickoff return then set up a 7-play drive that brought the 49ers to the Cowboys' goal line.
Touchdown.
You see Tom Rathman coming in motion. If they're going to run the ball, Steve Young has to run it.
With a wet pitch and a slippery ball, both coaches knew that turnovers could prove fatal.
49ers give the ball to Waters. Waters, scramble, fumble. And the Cowboys have it. Kevin Smith came up with the ball.
And from that Waters fumble, the Cowboys needed only 3 plays to put themselves in great scoring position on the 49ers' 5-yard line.
Run with Smith. Good call here.
That's a better call.
Darrell Johnston with a good block in front. Smith with the touchdown.
There's Darrell Johnston again with a good lead block. And again, Johnston makes the block that makes the touchdown for Emmitt Smith so easy.
This Mike Cofer field goal then tied the game at the half. But in the 3rd quarter, it was Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys who showed first.
Going deep. Harper came down with the ball. 1st and goal, Dallas inside the 10. Eric Davis just couldn't jump high enough.
Just let him run up there and get the ball and out-jump Eric Davis. That's exactly what they did. I don't know that he out-jumped him as much.
I don't know that he did.
That ball just went right through Eric Davis's hands.
Cannell in motion. That's Emmitt Smith. Out of bounds at about the 3.5. There was a safety blitz. Again, this is Johnston in the end zone. Flag on the play. Way on the outside. That was funny looking from the beginning.
I know, because half the players stopped playing. And if the whistle didn't blow, then that's going to be a good play and a touchdown.
Offside, defense, penalties declined.
Touchdown.
Meanwhile, Coach Seifert's team was uncharacteristically relying on the kicking of Mike Cofer to put points on the board. And ominously for the 49ers, Emmitt Smith was gaining significant yardage as the Cowboys' offense took control.
Quickly to Smith, who's wide open. 10, touchdown. 14 plays, and they kept the ball 9 minutes in that drive. Good block by Irvin.
Then on their next drive, Dallas surprisingly went for it on 4th down and failed, giving the 49ers momentum and aspirations of a comeback.
Touchdown Rice.
Let's just replay here and just watch Steve Young's eyes. If you don't think that this is a big game, and this is a competitor, and this is a guy who's looking for his playmaker, and you aren't watching Steve Young's eyes.
But straight from the kickoff, it was the Dallas offense that once again took the initiative.
Aikman quickly. The pass to Harper. Harper off to the races. They're going to run him down, however. At about the 9-yard line, Dana Hall. Aikman to throw. Kelvin Martin, touchdown.
Good pass protection. Troy Aikman has good time. He can step up and throw that and put everything on it to Kelvin Martin. Right there, that last little lunge got the ball to break the plane to the goal line.
Did he break the plane? Well, maybe not. But it did end any dreams of Super Bowl 27 for the 49ers.
I don't mean to put a damper on it, but no. But you understand, we do have one game left to play. Hey, fantastic. Every single one of you. I mean, I'm not just talking about these last 60 minutes. I'm talking about the quarterback schools, the mini camp, the off-season, the training camp, down in Austin when it was hot and you were tired, the home bit. Everybody, you did one hell of a job. And the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
We couldn't take command in the first half when I thought that we were playing our best football. We couldn't take control of the ball game. Whatever reasons, different things would happen to our club, and we just couldn't quite get ahead or take any sort of formidable lead. Second half, they came out and, as I said, did a heck of a job.
And then in a big game like this, you start trading 3 for 7, and you're going to find yourself down. So, and I think really, if you look back on the game, that might be the biggest thing, is a couple of big third downs inside the 30 for us, where we had to kick a field goal, and those guys, to their credit, were able to put it in the end zone.
Our coaching staff did a great job. They've been doing a great job for us all year. All we ask our coaches to do is to put us in a position to make plays and put us in a position to win ball games. And I feel like they've done that quite successfully so far. And they have to go work one more week for it. So it's up to the players to go out and believe in the coaching staff and believe in the system that we're running and go out and execute. And that's something that we did today.
For one of those coaches, Super Bowl 27 will be his last game with the Cowboys, as on Tuesday, Dave Wanstead was named as Mike Ditka's successor as head coach of the Chicago Bears. In New England, Bill Parcells will be in charge next season. Due to poor health, Bill retired in 1991 after taking the Giants to 2 Super Bowl titles. He's now fit, but he's certainly picked a tough comeback job, as the Patriots ended the season 2-14.
Get some enthusiasm out there! Run! Let's get play ball, okay? Let's play ball.
So unfortunately for all you 49er fans, no Montana-like come from behind victory for Steve Young. And that means that the youngest team in the NFL, the Dallas Cowboys, now move on to play the Buffalo Bills, who are in their 3rd straight Super Bowl. So make a note in your diaries to join me here on Channel 4 on January the 31st for live coverage of Super Bowl 27. And as we reach the ultimate game of the season, what better time to give my awards for the players and coaches of 1992. And let's start with the men who make the decisions. Joe Gibbs won't be taking his Redskins back to the Super Bowl, but with all the injuries, it's still been a good season's work. Many expected to see the 49ers and George Seifert in Pasadena, and Don Shula would certainly have felt comfortable taking Miami to another Super Bowl. They had good years, but Jimmy Johnson has gone one better with his young Cowboys. But I would call this the year of the rookie, and while Bill Cowher of the Steelers, Dennis Green at the Vikings, and Mike Holmgren at the Packers all excelled, my vote for Coach of the Year goes to Bobby Ross. He overcame the loss of quarterback John Freese and led San Diego into the record books as the first team to start the season 0-4, make it to the playoffs and win a division. Well done, Bobby. The case for the defence starts with an honourable mention to my old mate Lawrence Taylor. I don't think we've seen the last of LT, but if we have, he will be missed. Then there's Reggie White. He's had an excellent year, but free agency may see Reggie in a new uniform next season. Wilbur Marshall of the Redskins also deserves a mention, but my player of the year is actually a defensive unit. The New Orleans Dome Patrol. All 4, Pat Swilling, Vaughn Johnson, Sam Mills and Ricky Jackson are going to the Pro Bowl. That's an NFL first, and they deserve it. On the other side of the ball, Joe Montana has started his comeback, and maybe next year this will once again be his award. In the States, his fill-in Steve Young won the league's MVP award. He has done a good job of standing in, but for me, Joe is still #1. So my vote for Offensive Player of the Year goes to Barry Foster, whose tough running almost single-handedly led the Steelers to the AFC Central Division title. On special teams, Deion Sanders is always explosive on the field, but unfortunately, so is his behaviour, which which is why he doesn't get my vote. The man who does is Morten Andersen. Aside from his booming kickoffs, he is the Saints' offense. That's not good, Coach Mora. With 20 consecutive field goals this season, Morton's on course to break Kevin Butler's most coveted kicking record of 24 in a row. As for rookies, well, Terrell Buckley of the Packers has had some high points, but his season's been marred by fumbled punts and errors. At the Buccaneers, Santana Dotson had a promising start, but injuries to teammates slowed him down. So for me, it's Troy Vincent and Marco Coleman at Miami who stand out, with Marco Coleman just getting the edge.
Get some enthusiasm out there. Let's get tuned up.
Well, the Buffalo Bills can now also add 1992 to the sign, but the one thing more than anything else they'd like to add is Super Bowl champions. To find out if third time is a charm, I hope you can join me for live coverage next Sunday as they take on the Dallas Cowboys in Super Bowl 27. Now, next week on Play Action, Gary will take a look back at the road to Pasadena. So until next time, from a sunny, cold Buffalo, bye-bye.
You and me, we were the pretenders. We let it all slip away. In the end, what you don't surrender, well, the world just strips away. Girl, ain't no kindness in the